Do you want to spend $70 or more on a product that isn't finished? Have you ever wanted the exact same game that you bought exactly 1 year ago? Do you want to feel like you've wasted your time? Well, do I have a deal for you? Buy our AAA game today or else. Our graphics are really good, and that's about the
Buy
only
our
redeeming
game.
quality.
Buy our game.
No,
Buy
no,
our
no,
game.
no, make
Buy
it
our
stop!
game.
Make it stop!
Hello, Loki Online from Video Games here. For the past couple of years, I've noticed a peculiar trend in the landscape of gaming. Huge studios with the cheat codes for infinite money have been dropping some absolute stinkers, while many small studios, sometimes consisting of only one singular person, have been dropping banger after banger on little to no budget for creating a video game. This trend isn't happening for just no reason. You see, gigantic companies seem to be under the impression that their games are somehow too big to fail. With such a large advertising budget and so many resources that if they make their employees work 60-hour weeks with no bathroom breaks, they can usually crank out a game in no time. If that's the case, why does it seem like smaller games are making huge waves? Well, I'm about to tell you, so make sure you have a refreshing beverage and perhaps a little treat on standby. Indie games are so incredibly good for so many reasons. You know I gotta mention the Hollow Knight series, right? With such a small team of only 3 people, they managed to achieve absolute greatness with back-to-back indie classics. And that's just it. I think the fact that these dev teams are so small, they're able to narrow down their vision and have a very specific goal in mind for what they want their game to be. I mean, look at a game like Megabonk. One singular dude made this game alone, and it reached an all-time peak of well over 100,000 players. I mean, that's more than big studios are pulling in with teams of over 200 devs working on the same game for 4 years. And that's just the thing. A big studio would never, ever be able to release a game like Blueprints, Megabonk, Terraria, or even The Binding of Isaac because it would be just too risky. And that's exactly why indie devs are living the dream with unlimited creative freedom to do almost whatever they want with their games. They are led by passion, but not profit, and by fun, but not flashy graphics, which allows players like myself to connect so deeply with these games. It's pretty obvious to me why indie games are incredibly good, because who doesn't love a good underdog story? I mean, look at games like Undertale. This entire game, everything from the gameplay to the incredible soundtrack, was made by only one singular dude, which ended up selling over 5 million copies. I mean, this reminds me of a similar underdog story where an NFL quarterback was drafted 199th and went on to win 7 rings. But not only that, the community loves these underdog stories as well and supports indie devs with websites such as Kickstarter. This has helped Toby Fox and many other game devs fund their games from the community around them. But even without a budget and a Kickstarter, games like Blueprints and Balatro still thrived, and they deserved all the love they received. But the fact of the matter is that big companies with rich investors and hundreds of devs cannot provide the value that these games bring to the table. All of the indie games that I mentioned go for under $30, but that doesn't mean that the quality is not there. These games often drop fully finished, completely polished, and just filled with fun. Which brings me to AAA games.
Hey guys, it's me, Loki Mr. Boss. Here's why my AAA gaming company's failing.
You better buy my game, son. When I put myself in the shoes of a large game development company with thousands of employees, I start to understand why things happen the way they do. Let's start by taking Schedule 1, for example. Imagine if any of these companies took a step back and tried to make a smaller game similar to Schedule 1. I think it simply just wouldn't happen for many reasons. First of all, the men in suits at the top would look at the graphics, adjust their $1,500 Cartier frames, and hawk a fat loogie at the developers for even suggesting such a unique and unsafe looking game. Secondly, the premise of the game itself takes a slight risk. I mean, how would the investors that have never touched a single video game in their entire life know that people want to play a game about selling that good OG? You know what I'm saying? Hell, they don't even know what a video game is, let alone people play simulator games, I guess. And third, there's just way too many employees at a AAA company to create a small and clear vision for such a small indie game. I mean, think about the hundreds and thousands of employees at a company and how all their visions might differ from one another. How are they going to come together and make such a good, small, compact idea? And I think that's why we often see employees break away from major companies to have the creative freedom to make the game that they actually want to make. Here's a really good example. Around 30 French game game developers decided to leave Ubisoft one day because they were feeling bored and kind of uninterested in the direction the company was heading. I mean, there was no way that their ideas would even be considered by the top executives at Ubisoft. So they decided to leave and create a team called Sandfall Interactive. And they decided to create an open world RPG game called Expedition 33. Now, you might have heard of this game because it was plastered all over the Game Awards this year. So I'm sure that Ubisoft is kicking themselves knowing that they missed out on such a great idea for a game, and probably one of the greatest games that could have possibly come out of their studio. I mean, what else has Ubisoft released in the last, I don't even know how long, freaking Assassin's Creed Shadows? Get out of my face. Side note, who is playing this, man? Who is playing this? This Attack on Titan collab was terrible. This is a disgrace. I want a formal handwritten apology. Back to the thing about AAA companies being complacent. Not only do they often release games riddled with microtransactions, empty worlds, and uncreative ideas that have already been done before, sometimes they release a full game that isn't even finished yet. A prime example is a game like Cyberpunk 2077. Now, before you start yelling and cussing me out, I know Cyberpunk is peak now, and I love the game, but here's the thing, some of you might not know that when Cyberpunk released, it was quite an atrocious mess. This game was so incredibly hyped up that everyone who bought the game on release felt so disappointed because there was an unbelievable amount of game-breaking bugs, the game would frequently crash, and it would barely run on PC or console for many players. This led to the game being removed on PlayStation Store, and the players on many other platforms just refunded the game outright. And of course, the main reason that this game released in such a terrible state has to do with CG Projekt Red being a AAA studio, because the devs were apparently being overworked with an insane extended crunch period of a 6-day work week, and some employees were being worked 100 hours in a single week at some point in the game's development, and the game still released unfinished. I actually can't believe it. So not only did the corpos make them release Cyberpunk early, they ruined all the trust that they had with the public because they did so. But I gotta hand it to them, at least they did end up fixing their game, and now Cyberpunk 2077 is like loved by everyone, including myself. But many other games did this, like Fallout 76 and No Man's Sky, which also later improved significantly. But like, all I'm saying is that if they just took their time and released the game fully finished after a little slight delay, it would have gone over way better for them. And I think that's why indie games are better, because they don't make insane promises. They just kind of shadow drop their games and do way better than these big titles anyway. As we move through our yearly Call of Duties and our bi-yearly Assassin's Creeds, a mysterious force will always be working in the background. This is an underground system of many individuals who are hard at work creating something much bigger than themselves. They are creating something that they will look back after many years at the end of their life and be proud of. These are indie devs. They overcome many challenges, often alone, often quietly, and often starving to create art with such long-lasting effects on the world. And I think that is just truly, absolutely beautiful. And you know what else is absolutely beautiful? My favorite comment from last video. Thank you to my wonderful niche community for tuning into my rant about indie games, because I am just so passionate about them. And if you like videos similar to this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's free, okay? It's free. I hope you really enjoyed this video and have a nice rest of your day. Bye bye.